Hello and welcome back to Eddie's Beat Shack. And today what we're doing is we're talking about the performance hierarchy of organizations. Now, before we get into the performance hierarchy, I need to talk about the management hierarchy. And the management hierarchy is shown quite nicely through Anthony's hierarchy of management. And what we have is strategic management up at the very, very top of our organizational structure, leading to what we call our strategic apex, the guys at the very, very forefront of driving the business or the organization forward. These guys will have a decision-making time horizon, which is very, very long-term. They'll be looking to make longer-term decisions, such as maybe decisions that'll take up to 10 to 15 years. The type of decisions you could be looking at here can have a dramatic impact over the longer-term time horizon. Then what happens is we have our tactical management, which is our middle management. These may be departmental heads, they may be heads of subsidiaries, they may be senior managers within our organization who are looking after a part of the organization themselves. These chaps will have a decision-making time horizon, which is known as medium term, which means it could be up to 5 years. You're probably looking at least a year or two, possibly up to 5 years. Then what we have down at the bottom of our hierarchy, our strategic, tactical and now operational managers down at the bottom. These guys will be looking after our day-to-day decisions. They look after stuff which is happening today and tomorrow. Now, each of these different types of managers, strategic, tactical and operational, will have different types of informational requirements. And it's up to the strategic management accountant to provide strategic information for strategic decision making to our strategic managers. How many times can I get strategic in one sentence? And then with regard to operational stuff, I'm looking at our cost accountants and our management accountants providing day-to-day information to our operational managers so they can make decisions today and then tomorrow. So every single different type of manager here has got a different type of decision-making time horizon, and because of that, they have different types of informational requirements. You need to make sure that within any type of organization, the management information system acknowledges that and allows each different type of manager access to different types of information. For instance, the number of people that are going off sick today is not of interest to a strategic manager, but it would be very interesting to an operational manager. Now, this type of strategic, tactical and operational strategic levels, tactical levels, operational levels, this type of structure will be put in place potentially for every single different department within the organization. So you may find that the finance function, the HR function, and all the other different areas within the organization, they will all have strategic, tactical, and then operational managers which look after everything. Now, that's all well and good, Ed, and I understand that. Anthony's hierarchy of management is something that hopefully we do understand reasonably well. Now, what happens with regard to performance? Well, we have a performance hierarchy which has got to allow for planning to occur. So what happens now is these different levels of managers have got different types of time frames for their decision making. So they have different types of time frames for their decision making, and they have different types of resources potentially available to them. And if you're looking at some of the more sophisticated accounting papers or more sophisticated issues, you could look at the difference between management accounting and financial management. That will show you the difference in the resources which are potentially available. Strategic managers need to take into account lots and lots of different external stakeholders, whereas the operational managers will tend to focus on internal stakeholders. And we could spin off a little bit here into an analysis of stakeholders' needs, such as a Mendeley matrix, and we'll look at that within a different one of these Beat Shack sessions. We've already talked about the idea of informational requirements being subtly different for each different manager, and that's really, really important to me. Now, from a performance perspective, we have different types of decision-making time horizons. We have different types of plans which will be made and different types of plans that will now be implemented. What we now need to think about is how performance can cascade down. Now, performance will start at the top and then cascade down throughout the entire organization. So our performance hierarchy looks at the longer term issues, and it looks at something which is even longer term than our strategic objectives. So the performance hierarchy actually starts with a mission statement. So the mission statement will actually tell the world what we think of ourselves. Mintzberg came up with a wonderful comment about a mission statement, saying that the mission statement is how we think the world should see us. So the mission statement is how we think the world should see us. Now, the mission statement should tell the world what our overall aims are. It should allow the world to understand who our primary stakeholders are going to be. And it also gives me an idea of how those different stakeholders will now potentially receive value. Mission statements are things that are very, very important to larger organizations. The problem I've got with mission statements is an awful lot of the larger organizations will have them. They just don't tell people about them. So if you are working for one of these organizations that have a mission statement, have a look at it and say, do I actually use that on a day-to-day basis? The mission statement that you have within your organization should allow you to determine what type of strategic, tactical, and operational decisions you should take. So everything has to cascade down from the mission statement. So if you now understand the mission statement, that now means that you should understand exactly what type of decisions you should be making every single day, or decisions you should be making in the longer term. And that could be really, really important to me. So that type of issue is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. As for instance, the organization that I work for, we have a mission statement which states that we are here to help people obtain the qualifications that they deserve. That tells you that whenever we make a strategic or a tactical and operational decision, we're trying to help people. And that's everything for us as this type of tuition provider, this type of information provider. Now, last and by no means least, we do have an issue with regard to the information which is being provided. The information which is being provided to every single different manager is going to be subtly different. There will be a different connotation, a different slant on it, and you need to ensure that the management information system allows for all of these different types of information to be available. Now, we don't have time to go into various different types of information systems and MIS issues. They will be the subject of further Beat Shack sessions. That brings me up to the end of today's session. Thank you very much for your time and attention. I hope you found it useful. I find this area amazingly interesting and is the type of thing that it's worth having a little look around, no matter what type of organization you work for. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all very soon back on the beach.